let me set this up here because, and I know this will get Nick and everyone worked up, but this is something that really is pervasive. It's obviously meant to be. It's meant to be. I don't know what it's meant to be. I will say this. In action, it's evil. In practice, it's evil. Right now, they are trying to present the refugee situation with Ukraine. Let's just get rid of where you line up with Ukraine and Russia for a second. Okay, let's get rid of that. There are refugees. Okay. There are women and children who need to go someplace. Okay, let's just start with that. Yeah. Now, what is the left trying to do? They're trying to say that, well, actually, the only reason that people now care about these women and children, the refugees, in other words, if you have empathy, if you have a heart, they want you to feel guilty in this case. Why? Because something refugees. Racism. It's because they're white. Don't take my word for it.
A lot of people on TV didn't expect a war like this to happen in, let's say, certain neighborhoods. Now people are going to be like, oh, to see this in Europe, to see this. Like, I'll tell you now, I don't know about you, but I was shocked to see how many reporters around the world, by the way, seem to think that it's more of a tragedy when white people have to flee their countries. Because I guess what, the darkies were built for it?
Okay, let's face it. The world is paying attention because this is happening in Europe. If this was happening anywhere else, would we see the same outpouring of support and compassion? Well, we don't need to ask ourselves if the international response would be the same if Russia unleashed their horror on a country that wasn't white and largely Christian.
So this is echoed by the media, of course, and not just these folks who you just heard in late night. Well, Joy Reid, what is she? I guess she's media.
Almost former media.
But here we have from ABC. Let's read some headlines. Europe's unified welcome of Ukrainian refugees exposes double standard for non-white asylum seekers. Daily Beast, their headline reads, refugees from other wars want to know why white Ukrainians get VIP treatment. And my favorite from The Guardian, Europe has rediscovered compassion for refugees, but only if they're white.
I thought the bitch was white!
That's what they want you to think it is. Still my favorite quote.
That's a great quote. Passionate.
Here's the thing. It's 100% incorrect. It's incorrect by the numbers, and it's incorrect in sentiment. Let me just give you the numbers pretty quickly, okay? By 2016, Europe took in 5.2 million refugees from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan, okay? As of December 2021, the United States of America, took in 65,000 Afghan refugees. And the United States and overseas bases. I need to make sure that I say that, otherwise people will fact check me on that. You know, and Biden raised the refugee cap to 125,000 in light of the Afghanistan crisis, largely created by him. Now,
those are white Christian places that
well, less than 1% were Christian under Obama, despite the fact that these refugees leaving from places like Syria, Iraq. Christians were burned in cages. You're kind of surprised, like, well, why is it less than 1% of you coming here are the people who are being burned in cages, but you're part of the demographic that burns them in cages.
They're looking for a new place to do burnings.
Yes, exactly.
Tire necklaces?
Yes. Have you considered the Wicker Man?
Albuquerque's nice this time.
Though it won't bring back your honey. So let's go to Ukrainian refugees. Most of them have gone to Poland. Okay, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, neighboring countries, to be clear. And that's kind of the rule with refugees, right? The international rules state that you're supposed to, at least the sentiment, I don't know if it's an unwritten rule. No, wait, it's a written rule. You're supposed to go to the nearest neighboring country if you're fleeing persecution to be safe. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're just coming from South America, from a country that is not as good as the United States of America, you get to come here in a Dodge Caravan and claim refugee status.
Right. And you don't get to come here just because the economy is not doing well in your country.
Right.
That's not refugee.
So 65,000, 5.2 million in Europe. Anyone want to guess how many Ukrainian refugees had resettled here in the United States? Nick, do you want to take a wild guess?
46.
Yep, close.
Must be a lot because we're being called racist for taking so
That's
many
40
of them.
more. It was 7. It was 7.
Oh.
And now they plan to admit up to 100,000 Ukrainians, bringing that total to 100,00007.
I was pretty close.
You were close.
I was being a wise ass. I hadn't listened to a thing you guys have said for the last 5 minutes.
No.
And I threw in 46.
Appreciate it.
I'm still thinking
I love
about
that you went for the comical number and we're 40 higher.
That's exactly.
You were 40 higher and 100,000 lower than the aspirations.
I blocked it out right after you mentioned the premise of them accusing us of being. I go
ballistic.
I go ballistic. There's a red.
It's like a fire in your brain.
It is. I have to just back off and go. I don't want to get.
Well, I appreciate that you didn't back off of that, too. If people want to go see his stand-up, he pulls no punches. And I will say this, a lot of comedians these days have turned into pussy boys. So I do appreciate that about Nick. And I get mad too. Look, it's one of those things rape is terrible, of course. Rape is one of the worst crimes you can possibly commit. Some can argue worse than murder. People have argued that.
Says who?
It's also, well, okay,
me.
look. You doing the splits out in front of Delta Kappa fraternity 8 times a week.
Sigma Nu.
Screaming, I'm super drunk. I hope no one takes advantage of me. You're fine.
Not interested.
It's not
Nick.
necessarily the same. But rape is horrible. But accusing someone of rape falsely, knowingly, like Brett Kavanaugh, that's horrible, right? Racism is absolutely terrible. We can all agree. Falsely accusing someone of racism is absolutely horrible, and it's what they do to try and destroy someone's life. Of course people are infuriated. Now, here's something. Let me just presuppose this. Maybe the reason that public sentiment, Americans find themselves more sympathetic, more, I don't even know where they get this from. I honestly have no idea. I didn't even know that Americans were more sympathetic to Ukrainian refugees until the media said that was the case, and it's because we're racist. Honestly, I know that most Americans were pretty sympathetic to refugees across the board, whether they believe that we should resettle them or not. But
did
let
they
me
even escape? I started to cut you off, but how did they even escape, or were they just already here and we were like, you might not want to go back? There's 7.
Right. Yeah, it seems
like
almost...
Was there just one lifeboat? Like, how did they get here?
That's like 7 Ukrainians who were visiting and tried to take back a vape pen for their WNBA playoffs game.
It makes no sense. Like, they were probably here and they were like, oh, you can't go back. They've taken over your country.
They're running, that's...
Like, we're not even accepting them. They were just...
7.
Just 7.
They were just at their aunt's house.
But maybe the reason that Americans might feel more sympathetic is because these are, I don't know, women and children. Right? These are women and children leaving Ukraine because... contrary to what happened in the Middle East. And by the way, there have been refugees from the Middle East always, since forever. They've never found peace there. It has never been the case since any of you watching right now have been alive. No one wants to take in a bunch of refugees from the Middle East who left the women and children to be tortured and killed, right? That was the problem that we faced with some of these refugees before. And according to Pew Research, less than 1% of the Syrian refugees were Christian under Obama. According to Pew Research, all references available at louderwithcrowder.com, despite, again, Christians being the ones who were primarily persecuted in those countries. Now in Ukraine, in Ukraine, refugees are women and children since Zelensky banned men aged 18 to 60 from leaving the country, which, by the way, is also a sign that you have a really good country.
Yeah. Fantastic country if you're willing to run out. But listen.
Build walls to keep them in.
Yeah. You have to stay and fight. Well, what does that mean? Just go stand in the way of them.
Yes.
Make sure. No, but they understand
Russia.
Russia's just going to do what he did to Grozny. He's just going to bomb the hell out of it until it is absolutely the worst destroyed city on the planet. And then he's going to move to the next city, and he's going to do it again. He's doing it in Mariupol right now. If you look at some of the pictures that you see, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, it is like the moon. It is like another planet. It doesn't look like a city inhabited by human beings. And
we moved on from big girls.
Yes, we did. When people are fleeing that, you have compassion. The men are staying. The women are coming from that. Right? They're fighting another country invading. They're not fighting a faction within their country, like in Syria and other countries in the Middle East.
Right.
It's a different story.
I'm sorry. No. Only the left in this country, while women and children being slaughtered, can find race. That's their focus, racism.
Yeah, exactly.
This country was built on inviting people from all over the planet, wasn't it?
I mean, think about it. We even let the Irish in.
Exactly.
Yeah, big mistake. Buyer's remorse there.
Exactly.
Keep your famines overseas. Also, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know a country that has a little bit of a racism problem sometimes. The Ukraine.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Do they really?
Yeah, Ukraine has some. They have some problems with some people who are. I don't know if you know. They're very white.
I hear they don't like Russians.
Yeah, that's what I hear too.
Yeah,
there's a beef.
That's their.
Did you guys get the Ilhan Omar clip, guys?
We got it.
Okay, good. So this is also, of course, everyone's favorite brother marrier / banger, and Snopes doesn't know for sure. They haven't verified it, so I don't know. How about you do your job and verify it, Snopes? Just carry the one, Snopes. Here's Ilhan Omar talking about something other than relations with her biological brother.
As we talk about this crisis in Ukraine, we have to make sure that there is a reckoning. I hope this is a learning moment for all of us, because obviously there's a difference in the way they talk about Ukrainian refugees who are white and the way Black and brown and Muslim refugees from elsewhere are talked about.
Yeah, how did you get here and become a representative?
Exactly.
Terrible.
What a nitwit. And who's they, by the way?
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't she married to a white guy?
Yeah, her brother.
Right. That's her second marriage, to the white guy.
Pretty fly, though, so.
Like, honey, put your silly hat on and go pretend you care for 10
Yes,
minutes.
please
on
do.
Camera.
Thanksgiving's like a meat market to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you pass the creamer? No.
I love the pictures that they were showing, by the way, when she was talking.
Can't
Women,
even
children, old men. That's it.
So horny.
Right.
That was it.
And then they
Those
show
are
the
the
dog.
refugees.
Then they show the dogs
And a
that
dog,
would be
yeah.
killed or having to roam the streets in her homeland.
You need to train that
It
dog
just-
to go kill the
It just sucks that
invaders.
that's the narrative, though, when it's 7 people and you have all these different people working together to push this on everyone.
Right.
It's all about racism. It's
Right.
7 people in
Right.
this country.
Hey, how about this? How about we don't take Ukrainian refugees either? How about that? How about none across the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Does that make me a prick? How about none across the board? White, brown, whatever. Okay, fend for yourself. Go to the nearest bordering country.
Yeah.
Not across the ocean.
Sounds good. By the way, if you're pro taking in tons of refugees and spending other people's money and putting them in other communities and not yours, take one first.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Lead by example. You got plenty of room, Nancy. I know you have plenty of rooms in your house. You got plenty of ice cream. We know that for sure. Take some people into your house. Do it. You could start in San Francisco, the city that you've turned into a hellhole.
Yeah.
Do that there.
By the way, I don't even care. Put it in a townhouse. Have them live under the stairs like Harry Potter for all I care. Just have some skin in the game.
Just let's go.
You'd bring them over from Maripule and they'd look at San Francisco. I'm not staying here.
No, going back
I'm
there.
going back home.
There's poop in the streets.
Exactly. At
I've got
least it's
better
dog
chance.
poop
Yeah.
in my home country.
Yeah.
At least I know I'm being shelled over there. Take cover.
You in the city, you use AIDS like a biological weapon.
They just come in and see all the pills. They're like, this is insane. It's
They're
like Hunter S.
looting.
Thompson's house.
Leaving Somalia.
Yeah. Laughers.
I'll go
downers,
back.
Screamers.
All right, so look, this is one of those issues where I just think you guys can comment below, and it depends where you line up. Refugees or no refugees? And you know what? If there are a few people out there who, the 4 remaining actual white supremacists, if you guys think we should only have white refugees, then let people know who to not like in the comment section. Just let your freak flag fly. But Nick DePaul is going to be in Fort Worth on Saturday,
Right.
Dallas on Friday, Hyenas. We're going to go to Chat, and of course the huge Change My Mind coming Monday and Tuesday. What's happening? Is that?
Oh, no.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.